Good afternoon, Chris Mackowski from Emerging Civil War, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. It is May 2nd, 2019. It is the 156th anniversary of the Battle of Chancellorsville. We are out here where the battle took place 156 years ago, and I'm just kind of exploring day by day some of my favorite spots in the battlefield. Not trying to do a comprehensive tour or anything, but just kind of sharing with you some of my favorite spots. I wanted to show you there a few seconds ago those forget-me-nots that grow alongside the road here along Furnace Road, heading from the Lee Jackson Bivouac to my right, all the way down to Catherine Furnace on the left. And I think the forget-me-nots are an especially good metaphor, a reminder of why we do what we do as historians. We have some great stories here from men on both sides who exemplified tremendous courage, tremendous sense of duty, and it's important that we remember those stories so that we can learn from them. If we lose touch with our own history, we are doomed to repeat its mistakes, and we fail to learn from the wisdom that it offers us. So where I want to start right here is, as I mentioned, along Furnace Road. Catherine Furnace is to my rear. It's one of several iron furnaces in the region that was processing the iron ore that was rich in this area. One reason why this is a second growth forest in 1863, because the clear cutting has led to the regrowth of those clear cuts. And so it's a thick, choked, dense area. But right here we have this gap in the trees. And I always like to point this out to visitors to the battlefield because it seems like it's just kind of a random feature in otherwise a pretty woodsy area. But in 1863, this gap stretched a whole mile back to an area known as Hazel Grove. That was the highest point on the battlefield. Maybe we'll get a chance to visit there tomorrow. And Union gunners were positioned back there, and some of them were climbing up in the trees, seeing what they could see, and looking down this cut in the trees, they could see along this road here a column of butternut troops marching off, heading in that direction. It's going to be Stonewall Jackson's flank march. He's got 28,000 men that are starting back near what is today the Lee Jackson Bivouac, marching down this road under top secret conditions. They're not supposed to let anybody know that they're moving, but of course the jig is up because those gunners back in that direction, let me see if I can point and turn at the same time, because those federal gunners back there see them. This break in the trees is not very wide. If we take a look at it, really, maybe 30 feet, 25 feet wide, but it's just enough to provide the view of that butternut column. So artillerists down there will begin to lob shells in this direction. Confederates can see those coming literally a mile away, so they hustle through this break in the trees. Doesn't cause them really any grief, but the secret is gone. The jig is up, as they would say. And so now Federals realize that the Confederates are on the move. As Joe Hooker tries to process this intelligence, it's going to lead him to an unfortunately incorrect conclusion that Confederates are retreating. And so he's going to send orders up and down his line for his men to start getting ready, because tomorrow he's going to pounce on this column and get them on the road. In the meantime, he's going to focus his efforts in that direction toward today what is called McLaw's Wedge. He thinks that's the rear guard of the Confederate Army trying to protect this marching column. So he's going to try on the 2nd of May to focus his efforts and squash that rear guard and then come after these marching guys tomorrow. It is about as tragic a mistake as you can make. It's a decision that on day 2 is probably the decision that loses Hooker the battle here. As I mentioned yesterday, he seems to make a decision every day that loses the battle for him, even though his army's kind of keeping him in the fight. So that's going to be kind of his unfortunate conclusion today. So when you drive down Furnace Road as you're visiting the battlefield, feel free to take a look at that break in the trees, because it is a significant feature on the battlefield. Things will look a little different today than they did back in 1863. The other thing you might notice is this roadside sign. The sign's just like this one, and a big aluminum panel were put up to help visitors orient themselves to what's going on. And this tells the story of Jackson's march. The downside of a panel like this is, look, it's great to read from your car if you're driving through, and indeed it was intended as a windshield tour, but it actually obstructs the view, doesn't it? You can't see past it. You kind of have to drive by, and then you can kind of see what's going on back there. And so back in the early 90s, there started to be this push to remove signs like this, which block the landscape. They're rather intrusive, and instead you see those much smaller panels, those wayside signs that are maybe waist high, and they're just slanted, so they offer you the chance to kind of look out over them and can invite you into the scene that you're looking at and reading about. So a significant interpretive change. John Hennessy, the chief historian here at Fredericksburg Gettysburg and Spotsylvania National Military Park really made a push for that as a way to try to open up the battlefield. It is, I think, a fantastic improvement to help visitors understand the experience here. So come on down, Chancellorsville, 156th anniversary. We're exploring the battlefield today. I'm Chris Mackowski for Emerging Civil War. Glad to have you with us.